Welcome to the show today. Thanks for being here for another episode of Magical Moments. And again, just in case you're catching us, you're new to the show or didn't hear our announcement last week, we're bringing back Magical Moments, which are episodes that are designed to just riff on a topic, a conversation, a client concern, a listener concern, or a question, that type of thing. And I just give my perspective on the spiritual experience, developing your intuition, how you can be more purposeful in your life, bring something greater, right? Live a deeper existence. And we already have the episodes that are where I bring a guest on the show and I do an intuitive reading and we go deep into something that they're struggling with as a way to teach us, right, how to show up more in our own lives and how to really see that we're all connected and we're all on this wild, crazy, chaotic, magical journey together. And these episodes, I really do believe from what I hear you saying is that they do inspire you as you're listening. And I so often hear that I thought you were talking directly to me. And, obviously I'm talking to a guest, but I love that feedback. It is the best feedback ever because that is the heart and soul of the show, is that we deepen our intuition and we reclaim interconnectedness, right? This real deep way that we are all one and that there is no separation when we remember, when we come back to ourselves, when we honor ourselves, honor each other, or honor the spiritual path. There is so much more meaning to life. So anyway, thank you. Today, I wanted to talk about honoring the darkness. And I think it's a really incredible time to talk about this, right? Because there is the aspect that we are in winter and it is the dark time and we have shorter days, longer nights. There's a lot of places in the world, especially like where I live, it's cold. And we have this really deep turning inward of a spiritual cycle, of an earthly cycle, of an energetic cycle, of a seasonal cycle. So many different cycles are present as we deepen into this dark time of the year. And there's much richness to be gained. And I know for those of us that are doers and we, derive our worth from productivity and from showing up again and again and again, even when we're exhausted, it can be really, really challenging to pause, to rest, to breathe, to go inward, because life and all of our experience says, no, you have to keep going. There's no time to stop. There's no time to rest. There's bills to be paid. There's kids to be picked up. There's things to be done. There's so much, right? And we become incredibly overwhelmed and depleted from this place. And there's not a lot of way to get out of it. Like, I'm not even going to sit here and tell you just stop. Like, I get it that life, the way that life and societal norms and our culture has been established is that there really is not a simple way to get out of that way of living. It takes incredible courage, incredible resilience, incredible devotion to something deeper and something greater, to be able to step back from the crazy and from the chaos and to really relocate inside ourselves instead of outside of ourselves. So know that as I talk about this, I really do hold what is true. Truth isn't the right word there, right? What is present, let's say, in our modern culture as we are really endeavoring to find more of ourselves inside of a system that doesn't necessarily support that. So as we turn to honor the darkness, there is, right, as I said, a very cyclical nature to this time. Yet, when I talk about honoring the darkness, I always love to bring in the lens and reflection, right? Looking at this place within us where we hold our greatest wounding and we tend to call this the darkness, right? We do shadow work. We look into the dark. We are unearthing and combing through all the conditioning, all the programming, all the things that are in the way of us being able to feel really grounded, embodied, awakened, fulfilled, all those things, right? So for me, honoring the darkness is really honoring that place inside of yourself that holds such deep wisdom. And what I have learned on this path is that that wisdom is deeply connected to your wounding, the places that you run from, the places that you hide from, the places that you wish away and you wish nobody knew those things about you, right? They're shameful. There's so much guilt. There's so much mental chatter and physical body sensation, right? Nervous system activation that says those things are terrible. They're horrid. Please make them go away. I would be such a better person if I didn't have any of those things. And I say that from experience. I lived a lot of my life feeling that way, hiding such valuable parts of myself, believing that they were unworthy, damaged, irreparable, and that I created a life that was built around how deep could I hide those things? How much could I pretend to be somebody that I wasn't so that nobody would see those parts of me and, right, it make me feel like I didn't belong. I think so many of us, all of our wounding leads back to belonging, love, and safety. And when we don't have those things, we are going to contort ourselves into incredible shapes and dimensions and all kinds of things in order to get those essential things that we are craving. And yet, as I have traveled this path, as I have really reconnected with my intuition, my spiritual nature, the divine being part of myself, it became super obvious to me that all of my gifts, all of my strengths lay intertwined and buried in the parts I was wishing away. They actually really were the parts of me that were incredibly resilient and resourceful. Because when you begin to think about it from the perspective of these things are trying to help us, these things are actually our superpowers, our strengths. What we see in them is that they're just misguided. These parts of us are incredibly faithful. Mine were with me for decades, right? They never quit. They never gave up. They never left. And that sort of commitment is worthwhile mentioning, right? Like they never go away, no matter how hard we try. And I think that that type of loyalty is exactly why we bring them closer, why we honor these darker places, these places that we don't like, because they have so much richness and so much love for us. And I have found when we bring them closer, when we really get to know them, when we allow them to have a voice, when we allow them to share with us what they really need, then we change things. Then we have a different relationship with all these parts of ourselves. And there can be this synergy that happens, this pulling together of our being. And as we mentally, emotionally, energetically, spiritually move these pieces around and see something different with them and listen to them and then allow them to move through us, right? That our whole being changes. We vibrate differently. We resonate with different things because what is actually guiding us when we're not paying attention is our trauma, is the parts of us that we wish away. But ultimately, it's guiding you. And so imagine the power in harnessing this part and using the power that it provides for what you want instead of what you don't want. It's an incredible crossroads to stand at. and choose something different. And so for me, I love to say that we're honoring the darkness in devotion to your light, because the light is always there. It's underneath what's blocking it. And when we peel back the layers and we are willing to interact differently with this darkness, then our lightness is able to shine, because it's no longer being hidden and suppressed by the parts of us that are desperately trying to love us, and we keep sending them away. So it's a super powerful practice, and it's an incredibly powerful practice to do at this time of the year too, because we're already cocooned in the darkness. Mother Earth is holding us, encouraging us to rest, calling us home, wanting us to be deeper and closer with her so that she can help us. She's here to transmute everything for us. Whenever I move anything, I offer it to the earth. I offer it to God, to the divine, the universe, or to the earth to see which one of the beings wants to support in this level of transformation. So there's a lot to be learned from your darkness, my love. And yes, it takes courage. It is not an easy, ooh, yay, let's go do it type of practice. However, that said, I did find that once I started to go in and I went back and I kept returning and I kept choosing myself, that it did get easier. And there was a point where I literally started to look forward to what I would find next, because the freedom on the other side was so profound that it was motivation enough to keep going back into the things that I was afraid of and the things that I had always run from. And all these years later, sitting on the other side, right, I have a very different relationship now with those parts. And if there is anything left there, which occasionally I might find something, it is, I would say it's exciting, which makes me laugh because that's not what you would think. But when you reach the point where you see the power in this practice, you can be excited that there's something more to move. There's something more to transform, because who you become on the other side of this process is worthwhile. It is worth it. You are worth the risk, and this life that you will create is worth the risk of going in and honoring the darkness.